Go.
Okay, so on your test tomorrow, there is going to be one surface area volume question, math problem, and you'll have to figure out surface area volume of a cube. So we're going to keep it consistent with what we've been doing and what went with your lab. Okay, the formula will be on the test. Okay, so it'll be very similar to what you're seeing on this sheet. The way that it's set up here, they have the formula here for you. And you just basically have to just plug in the numbers, okay? So for a cube, the surface area is the height times width, or you could even say length times width, whatever, times 6, because in a cube, all of the values are going to be the same. So your surface area would have been 3 times 3 times 6, okay? So what's the answer to that? 54. 54. What is our unit going to be? Millimeters squared, okay, because this was millimeters and this was millimeters and then times 6. So you use millimeters twice. Okay, so it's 54 millimeters squared. All right, what about for volume? You've got 3 times 3 times 3. So what would that be? 27. 27. What's our unit?
Millimeters. 30.
All right, millimeters cubed. Okay, so for our ratio, if you were to write it like this, okay, and of course you need to put your units, but if you do it like that, can we reduce that down? Yes, and it'd be reduced to what? 2 to 1. Okay, and it is better if you can reduce it down. That's the best. Okay, all right. So surface area to volume ratio of this cube would be 2 to 1. The more surface area that you have with a smaller volume, the more efficient that cell is going to be, because that means that the cell membrane has more surface to move out waste or to move in nutrients. Okay, so it's going to be more efficient. Okay, so this is a breakdown of your test that's going to be tomorrow. Okay, there's 18 total questions. 15 of those are multiple choice. There's the one math problem with surface area and volume. And then there's 2 short response. All right, the sheet that you have some notes with stuff about microscopes, and then there was some stuff about the scientists and the cell theory. To be very honest with you, the main thing that you need to focus on in regards to that is the stuff about the cell theory. The scientists' names will be mentioned, but they are mentioned only in the question part and about. It just says that these scientists contributed to the cell theory. You do not have to know how, okay? So you don't have to memorize what the scientists did. All you need to know is what the 3 parts of the cell theory are. You do not have to know the stuff about the microscopes yet, okay? We will use that on something later on. But the microscopes, there will not be microscope questions on this test, okay? So right, that will not be on there. No, do not need to know that, okay? So you need to know cell theory. It is super important that you know the difference in a prokaryotic cell and a eukaryotic cell, okay? That's very important. There's multiple questions about that, okay? So remember, prokaryotic, pro means before, kary means nucleus. So in regards to evolutionary theory, they think that these are the most ancient of cells because they're before cells with a nucleus were created by a bunch of prokaryotic cells deciding to live together in the same cell. But anyway, that is, so they're going to be the most ancient. Prokaryotic, we know that pro rhymes with no. There is no nucleus. There are no membrane-bound organelles. Okay, so that Venn diagram we did, or an H chart kind of, okay, we did things that eukaryotic and prokaryotic have in common. And then we have things that they are different, okay, ways that they're different. There will be questions on your test where I give you a chart, and it'll say cell A has these types of structures in it. Cell B has these types of structures in it. Cell C has this kind of stuff in it. Which one of these is most likely a prokaryotic cell? Which one is most likely a plant cell? Which one's most likely an animal cell? You can tell that based off of the Venn diagram comparing prokaryotic and eukaryotic, and your T-chart comparing plant and animal cells. Okay? So, in regards to the other part, the cell structures, it is very important that you understand what the cell structures do. Okay? That the nucleus is the brain of the cell. It controls what goes on in a eukaryotic cell. That the cell membrane controls what goes in and out. That a cell wall is not present in an animal cell, okay, but is in plants and fungi and bacteria, some bacteria, things like that. Let's see, as far as knowing what the structures do, that is really important that you have an understanding of what each one does, okay? Endoplasmic reticulum, the rough and the smooth, the ribosomes, those are not organelles, but they are actually just bundles of RNA. Where are ribosomes made?
The nucleolus.
The nucleolus. All right. Okay? So those are going to be things that you need to make sure that you pay attention to, okay? A lot about, really, of all the things, there's one question about cell theory. The rest of it is from prokaryotic, eukaryotic Venn diagram, T-chart with animal and plant cells, and cell structures. Other than the math question, of course. Okay?
Wait, what is the...
Yeah, the parts of the cell is going to be most of the test.